thanks for joining me again. Today I'm going to revisit something I've already shown, and that is trace repair. I'm going to show you a couple tips you can use to make it not so difficult. Remember the last time we did trace repair, we used this really super thin wire that you can't even see here, but maybe you can see on the, yeah, you can see that on the microscope, and how difficult it was and why you need to practice. I'm going to show you some tips on trace repair, how to make it easier, and I'm going to also drink some beer, and I'm going to give you a hair care tip. Okay, remember last time we did this, I showed you it took a long time because this thin wire is extremely unwieldy. All right, well, there's an answer to that. All right, there's a couple of answers to that. The first one is, let me move this a second. Go back here. Use a thicker wire. Okay? You don't have to use this stuff that came with your soldering iron. Okay? You can use anything as jumper wire. This is 1/10 of a millimeter thick. And this wire, well, I went to a hardware store and just bought some wire for this purpose. For the purpose of having thicker wire to use. And each one of these wires that I have stripped here, I've stripped this end, is thicker and stronger than the other stuff. So I'm just going to cut off a piece. And these are my scissors that I finally got back from my wife. Oh, she doesn't know that. Okay, I'm just going to take a piece of wire. And this wire, when you feel it in your hands, you'll see that it is thicker. Now see, that wire is thicker. Look at the microscope. Okay. Take a break from all that grinding. So what we're going to do, flux. We're going to use this cheap, inexpensive, non-Amtech flux. And I'll wind up tinning both of these areas. I mean, just because this is so tiny. If you could see this in real life, this is very tiny. This is in a very small area. I turn on my soldering iron. Should have done that. Remember yesterday I left my soldering iron on, or I put it away with solder on it. That's the best way to store your soldering iron. Gonna let that heat up. Have another drink. Remember, I run everything at 405 degrees Celsius. Once again, I'm sorry that took so long to break that trace, but what I'm suspecting is they're both ground traces. And ground is connected everywhere. All right. So I'm going to grab my solder, and remember, once again, I go ahead and use this thick stuff that's used for pipes because your soldering iron will only hold so much solder. It does not matter. You do not need to buy that thin stuff. Okay? All right, so I'm going to tin let's get this in focus. I'm going to tin that one first. And we'll get some solder on that trace. Okay, I'm going to hit it with a little more. Because of my flux, I can't quite see how I'm doing. All right, I'm pretty sure that there's a good amount of solder on that trace. Now we'll move to the other one. A little more solder on my iron. We'll hit this one. Remember, you must use flux. Flux helps solder flow. Now, using this thicker wire. One of the things you'll find with this thicker wire, it's easier to handle with your hands. Okay? This is easier, it's stiffer, and it's also easier to hold with your tweezers. So we'll go with this end first, up here. Get a little solder on my iron. All right, that's plenty. And I am going to, now I'm holding it straight down onto that area. I'm able to do that because the wire's thicker. Now you see that? Whoops. I do not anticipate this taking anywhere near as long as using the thin wire. There we go. Now you don't have to put it on quite so thick. Okay, that was just 2 tries. And then when I stretch it down here to this area, you don't want to don't put tension on it. Just get it to the area because you don't want that to snap out. There's no reason to put so much tension on it that it could possibly snap. I'm going to put a little bit more flux in this area because flux is good. Okay, flux is your friend. And I am going to tin my iron. I'm going to just hold down over the area that I'm where was I going with that one? There's that. Where's the area? I don't think I was going to there, was I? Hey, look here. There's that. It's the original. Oh, it's over here. I see it right there. Okay. So I'm just going to hold my wire over that. And yes, heat is going to travel through that wire to your finger. But you don't have to. You're going to hold it further away. I'm going to put a little more, I don't know, I've got solder on my iron. I'm going to get a little more solder on there. A little stick. So using the thicker wire gives you more control over that wire. Oops. even though this is taking me a bit, this is going on faster than that thin wire. Okay, so that's soldered. And then that was fairly quick. All right, and then when you're done with your soldering, you go to either side and you're going to go ahead and break off, well, that side I don't need to break it off. Over here, I've got this wire sticking out, and all you do is you just wiggle it back and forth and it will break. There you go. Thicker wire is the way to go. And then of course, after I'm done with this, I would clean up and then put some solder mask on it. Guys, thanks for joining me today. My hair care tip is, guys, if you're going to be a pomade man and you want to style your hair, something like this, I call this the schoolboy look, you need to grow some hair. You can't be a pomade man with short hair. That's my tip for today. You guys have a great evening. I'll see you soon.